By the second week, Jasper had noticed something he hadn't meant to notice at all. 3 classes. Not 2, not 1. 3 classes he now shared with the girl from the hallway. He told himself it meant nothing. Aegis Academy wasn't a big school, and coincidences happened all the time between people who were never meant to matter to each other. Still, he found himself aware of exactly where she sat. 2 rows over, near the window, always the first to answer when no one else would. She never seemed to be trying to prove anything when she spoke. She just knew the answer and said it, then went quiet again. He noticed that too, the not trying. It was rarer than people realized. Nova had noticed him too, in the way anyone would notice the most talked about person in school sitting 2 rows over. It wasn't a secret he was there. It would have been strange not to notice. But noticing wasn't the same as caring, and Nova genuinely didn't. She had a chemistry test to worry about, a shift to plan around at her part-time weekend job, an essay due Friday. Jasper Ashford's existence simply wasn't high on her list of concerns. If anything, she found the whole spectacle around him a little tiring. The way conversations detoured toward him constantly, the way girls rearranged their entire schedules just to walk past his locker. She had no interest in joining that particular crowd. Once, their eyes met briefly across the classroom. She didn't look away first, out of pride more than anything, and neither did he. Then the teacher called on someone, and the moment dissolved into nothing, exactly the way she expected it to. Xavier noticed things before anyone gave him credit for noticing anything. It was Thursday, lunch, and Jasper had gone quiet mid-sentence, eyes drifting somewhere across the courtyard for exactly 3 seconds too long. Xavier didn't say anything right away. He just filed it away, the way he filed away everything useful, and waited for the perfect moment to bring it up. Theo noticed differently, quieter, more careful. He'd known Jasper long enough to know the difference between him being distracted and him being interested. And this had the shape of the second one, even if Jasper himself hadn't clocked it yet. Neither of them said a word about it. Not yet. But Theo made a mental note, the kind he'd learned to make a long time ago, about anything that pulled Jasper's attention somewhere he didn't fully control. Friday morning, Xavier arrived at school already grinning like a man with news too good to keep quiet. He'd decided somewhere between Wednesday night and that morning that Saturday needed a party. His house, his rules, no reason required beyond the fact that he wanted one. By first period, it wasn't a rumor anymore. It was fact, moving through Aegis Academy faster than any announcement the school itself could have made. Xavier's parties had a reputation, and Theo's presence at them only added to it. 2 of the richest, most watched guys in school, throwing open their doors for one night. Everyone wanted an invitation. Xavier didn't bother sending any. At a party like that, the only real invitation was showing up. Jasper hadn't planned on going. Parties weren't really his scene. Too many people, too many chances to slip, even for one night. But Xavier had a particular talent for making no sound like an option that simply didn't exist. By lunch, Nova's table had caught the same wave of noise sweeping through the rest of the school. Her friends were already deep in conversation about what they'd wear, who might be there, whether this was finally their chance. One of them turned to Nova, already halfway convinced of the answer before she asked the question. Was she coming? Nova hesitated. Parties weren't really her thing either, and she had a shift the next morning she couldn't afford to be tired for. But her friends were persistent, And there was something almost funny about how much energy the entire school was pouring into one party thrown by two boys who probably wouldn't remember half the guest list by Monday. She said she'd think about it. Her friends took that as a yes, the way friends always do. That evening, Jasper sat alone in his mansion, the kind of quiet that had nothing to do with peace. He thought about Xavier's party, about the noise and the crowd, and every reason he usually avoided exactly that combination. He thought, too, though he wouldn't have admitted it out loud, about whether a certain someone would be there. He told himself it changed nothing either way. He told himself a lot of things lately. Across town, Nova sat on her bed, scrolling through nothing in particular, still undecided. She wasn't the party type, wasn't chasing whatever everyone else seemed to be chasing this weekend. But some small, curious part of her wondered what it would be like to see Jasper Ashford outside of a classroom, away from the reputation that followed him everywhere. She dismissed the thought quickly. It didn't mean anything. It couldn't. Saturday arrived the way Saturdays do. Too fast for the people dreading it, too slow for the people counting down to it. By evening, Xavier's house was already lit up from the outside, music spilling into the street, cars lining the driveway in a way that made it clear this wasn't going to be a small night. Jasper stood in his room, dressed, still telling himself this was just Xavier being Xavier, nothing more than an ordinary night he happened to be attending. Across town, Nova stood in front of her mirror, finally decided, telling herself the exact same thing, that tonight meant nothing at all. Neither of them knew yet how wrong they both were.